In North Carolina, Daniel Todd is on his way to a job it took him a year to train for.
In a 35-foot hover, we have sufficient power for us to maneuver.
To do something that most people would think is crazy.
Ready for one, follow deployment of the rescue swimmer to the water.
Hovering above the Pasquotank River,
Roger, deploying swimmer.
he jumps out of a perfectly good helicopter.
Swimmer deploy. Swimmer's in the water.
Because what might be terrifying to some people is pretty normal for a Coast Guard rescue swimmer.
Survivors going in the basket.
The Coast Guard has 42,000 personnel stationed from Alaska to the Caribbean. But only 350 of them are part of the elite cadre of rescue swimmers.
Survivor and basket clear of the water.
Today, Petty Officer Todd is hoisting cadets from the Coast Guard Academy.
Lucky him, he got a yellow one.
They're rewarded with candy before being lowered back into the water. But before the excitement of doing this,
hurry up! Hurry up!
Todd had to go through this.
Pick it up! Get up! Pull it up!
No need to rest, Dickinson.
This morning, 7 a.m., getting up, I'm gonna jump in
20!
with the rescue swimmer class to see what their physical training program is like.
1, 2, 3, 11!
18 weeks of aviation survival technician school in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. It's a test of physical, mental, and intellectual strength. As I look at the photos on the walls, I see some pretty small class sizes. I mean, some of these have 2 or 3 guys.
You do see some small classes. We take classes at 12. We may graduate 6, we may graduate 7, we may graduate 3, 4, maybe 2.
Senior Chief George Marinko runs the school, a school that's so selective that sometimes an entire class doesn't graduate.
Let's go.
Physically, we usually don't have any problems on the PT grind or obviously in the classroom. But when they get in the water, the first 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, we see some students do give up and they grab the side. There's no side of the pool in the ocean. That could mean the difference between somebody living or dying, and we won't have that.
14 students began in the class training during the course of our visit. 7 weeks in, only 3 remain. And with 1 injured, just 2 are training today. One of them is Dave Froelich.
If you make it through this school, you can be called out to go out and save somebody's mom or dad or, daughter or son. And that alone is just enough for me to want to be here, and just make it through the school.
How difficult is it?
It's definitely difficult. This is something I could only imagine when I was working my way to get here, but it's definitely more difficult than I thought it would be.
Students spend 3 days of each week in the pool, where motivation from the instructors is ever present. This week, students are practicing large-scale rescue scenarios for the first time, training for such diverse situations as a burning oil rig and water rescues. What are we simulating?
2 surfers in distress sitting outside the surf line on their surfboard, waiting for a rescue.
Simulating entering the water from a helicopter, each student jumps in and gets to work. This is the first time that they've encountered this
This is their first multi-rescue scenario. They really have 3 big obstacles they need to overcome. They need to determine how many people are in the water, whether everybody has flotation or they're what we call safe in the water, and does anybody have any injuries?
First priority, make contact with the survivor. Then, take control.
He's doing an underwater approach on him. Going to come up behind him and take control of him.
Of a survivor that might be panicking.
As he's towing his first survivor, he's kind of learning that that's his non-compliant survivor. Guy's real panicky and not cooperative.
Finally, a lift to safety through spray meant to simulate the rotor wash of a helicopter. Almost always, there's only 1 rescue swimmer on scene without backup.
Is there another swimmer up there?
No, Mr. Brown.
No, there's not. It's just you, right?
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Why aren't you watching your 6? How long we have to go over this month? It's week 7.
The pool is just part of the training. Classroom work covers everything from survival rafts to maintaining pumps, and they actually have an entire classroom that's devoted to sewing. You can see all the sewing stations here. You can see the parachute down at the end of the table. These guys actually sew their own gear. So if they're deploying a life raft or a cargo out of a C-130, they know that it's going to hold because they've actually sewed it themselves. But after all the swimming, the jumping, and the sewing, students who graduate haven't yet earned their coveted rescue swimmer patches. For that, they'll have to go to an active air station and fly on real rescue missions, just like I'm about to do. They're looking for a potential victim in the water, so at first light, we're gonna launch. It's the last stop on a Coast Guardsman's journey to become a rescue swimmer, putting their classroom learning to the test on real-life missions at an operational air station. The country's largest and busiest is here, in Clearwater, Florida, one of 24 across the United States. So I'm in Clearwater, Florida, which is the most active Coast Guard search and rescue station in the nation. And I've come here over the July 4th weekend to embed with the Coast Guard for a few days to see how an active duty search and rescue station works. And there's no better way to do that than in the air. All right, let's go flying. The standard crew loadout for the search and rescue mission is 4 personnel. You have the pilot, the co-pilot, the flight mechanic who generally sits where I'm sitting right here. He operates the winch and he has the visual outside the door. And then there's the search and rescue swimmer. The swimmer himself will be loaded down into the water if deemed necessary in order to make the rescue and pull a victim up into the helo. The air station has a variety of assets, including C-130s, rescue helicopters, and crews on standby 24 hours a day, ready to answer a call from here. The Coast Guard's St. Petersburg Command Center, responsible for the entire west coast of Florida.
Everything that has to do with search and rescue is dispatched and planned and coordinated from this command center, from this office right here. And what kind of calls do you see commonly here in Clearwater? Give me a typical call. Everything. We get everything in here.
During our time in Clearwater, we would see a lot of it in just one flight. First, searching for a radio distress signal.
We won't be done until we find them.
We find it located on a boat.
There we go. Let's DF on that. There it goes.
Safely docked here in this subdivision. Just as we find the beacon,
2-3 sector, be advised that we've got a mayday call. You've been diverted. We'll have a search pattern as soon as we get ready, sir.
Sector 2-3, roger, good copy.
We're sent to a mystery mayday call.
We searched up and down the river as far inland as we could go with no signs of any vessels in distress and no call-outs.
That's never found. Finally, low on fuel, we get a report of people in the water near a bridge.
Sector 2-3, we can give you about 10 minutes looking at that, and then we are bingo on fuel.
Arriving on scene,
we are looking for the PIW. What is that over here at 3 o'clock? Turn right. Negative controls. Good controls. Oh, that's a bird. Turn good. Oh, okay. Right, keep going. Coming left.
We find them being helped by local rescue units.
They're all under the bridge right now.
They're under the bridge?
Yes, sir.
A busy night. Yes, it's just started. We're going to get called out again. Just getting started. Woo!
Calls can come anytime, day or night. Oh, all right, so 6 in the morning, we were all sleeping soundly in our little bunks here, and the aircraft commander popped in. He said the SAR alarm just went off, and there's a potential rescue, so that's what being the standby crew means. So we're getting our gear ready, and we're gonna jump in the bird and go see what's going on. Within minutes, we're on our way to the helicopter. So I just got a mini brief by the aircraft commander, and he said that they're looking for a potential victim in the water. So at first light, we're gonna launch and initiate a search pattern. The pilot, Lieutenant Commander Paul Russo, is in charge of this morning's mission.
We got a 20-year-old female, 24-year-old female who just came off out of rehab, and she jumped off the bridge last night. More likely we're looking for a body, but there's a chance that she could have survived and she might be hiding in the woods.
And is there some kind of technology that we're using, or are we going old school?
It's gonna be eyeballs, old school eyeballs. Okay. Yeah, if we're looking for a person in the water, it's all eyeballs.
After the pre-flight safety checks, our Jayhawk helicopter is taxiing into the sunrise hustling to get on scene. At any point, the rescue swimmer's ready to hit the water and hoist his victim up to safety, something that I had experienced firsthand at the Coast Guard's Rescue Swimmer School in North Carolina. We have the helicopter about to deploy the swimmers, and I'm going to be one of the victims today, and so that the search and rescue swimmers get to practice what they do best.
Be ready for one free fall deployment of the rescue swimmer from 12 feet.
Here we go.
Target in sight at the 1 o'clock position.
As the flight mechanic guides in the pilot.
Forward and right 10. Ease up above water now. Forward and right 5. Easy down. 25. Easy down. And deploying swimmer. What's your heading? And swimmer is away.
It's a rush of water, wind, and noise.
Looks like you've got the survivor. Basket is holding 5 feet off the water. Ready for one faster recovery of the survivor from 35 feet.
First, rescue swimmer Daniel Todd uses the most common technique, a basket hoist. Then we use just a harness. Finally, a quick deployment hoist. The two of us lifted and secured by just a strap.
Swimmer survivor at the cabin door. Swimmer survivor coming in. Swimmer survivor in the cabin.
Back on board the Jayhawk in Florida, there's no need for any of those hoists. There's good news.
Person has been located. How copy over? Mr. St. Pete, 2-3, Roger, RTB. Person has been located. Out.
The victim has been found, alive. We return to base. People often think that search and rescue is all about jumping out of helicopters and saving lives, but there's also a lot of long flights, long searches that don't end up doing anything, but that's why these guys do it. Keep going out there until that one critical moment when they do actually have to jump in and get someone.
We just want to be the guys that are there that when it gets bad and somebody needs help, they look at us and go, okay, that's the guy that's going to come and pick us up.
1, 2, 3, 7.
It will be many months before the students back in North Carolina are doing what Mike Zellner has done for the past 10 years. But they'll be doing it for the same reasons.
Before I joined the Coast Guard, everything was kind of about me, and I realized that that's not what I wanted. I wanted to get out there and see what I can do to help other people. And, I mean, there's many ways to do that. Saving someone's life, though, I mean, what more could you do?
Coming up.
I'm not sure these will fit, okay?
Pop star David Cassidy is still singing the songs that made him a worldwide sensation. But he's also fighting mad.
I don't want to shame and embarrass and humiliate them, but I will if I have to.
It's 1970, and a 20-year-old named David Cassidy is starring in The Partridge Family.
Screaming out the words I dread, I think I love you.
Not only do the show and sold-out concerts go on to make him a star, but the teen idol's success spawns an avalanche of merchandise.
This is a dress-up set. Remember these? Oh, gosh. Nice outfit, David.
David Cassidy is everywhere.
How big of a star was David Cassidy?
Well, I had the largest fan club in the history of the planet, bigger than Elvis and the Beatles.
He was all over lunchboxes, board games, pins, even dancing hamsters.
Which sings I Think I Love You. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's running out of gas. Listen to it. It's running out of gas.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hands together for the one and only David Cassidy?
The 61-year-old performer clearly isn't running out of gas. 37 years after the Partridge Family went off the air, he's still performing and producing. And now he's on a personal mission to get paid for that merchandise from Sony, which owns the show.
You say you've been robbed
for the last few decades.
How would you call it? If somebody does not pay you and you